Stefan Ingves, despite the many weakening signs in the economy, you are sticking to your plan to exit negative rates by year end. Why is that?
The Swedish economy has basically had a very good run by now for many years. And when we look at our projections, we think that growth will be slower, but we really don't foresee a downturn around the corner. And against that background and against, given the very extreme monetary policy going down to minus 0.5, we think it's the right thing is to slowly move up towards zero.
But aren't you afraid at all of making the same policy mistake you did after the financial crisis, hiking in a downturn?
But we don't foresee a downturn, so that's the issue. Keep in mind that the growth numbers have been very good for many years. Unemployment is low, inflation is fairly close back on target, close to the target 2%, and we don't foresee a global downturn either. And given the openness of the Swedish economy, it's hard to see why then we would end up with a serious downturn compared to many other places.
Is this a reassessment of negative rates?
No, it's not a reassessment, because already back in 2014 and 2015, when we went negative and started buying quite a lot of government bonds as well, we very clearly stated that eventually we're going to get out of zero territory, and that will take a while. We got inflation back up the target, and as I said earlier, the Swedish economy has had a very good run for a number of years, and against that background, then it seems quite natural actually to slowly move out of negative territory.
But do you see any possible negative effects of, would you stay below zero?
There's been quite a lot of discussion about that, but no, not really in our economy. It took a while for many people, including for myself, to get my head around negative rates. But when it comes to the operational aspects of negative rates, the whole thing settled down actually fairly soon, and it has worked well. But it's a completely different conversation what happens in an economy if you stick to negative rates for a long time period. Luckily for us, time period seems to be around 4 or 5 years, and in that sense it's a good scenario to get to zero.
And what would a rate hike mean for the QE program?
The QE program, the QE program stays put, because essentially what we do presently is that we buy small amounts of government paper in the market, and that essentially means that we are rolling our portfolio. And that means that we'll have to decide what to do with our government debt portfolio down the road. So that has not at all been an issue presently.
You're also going against the global central bank trend. You feel confident about that?
Yes, we do, because inflation is a little bit higher in here and growth is a little bit better than in the Eurozone. And then for us, given that we have our own currency, then it's up to us to decide how to turn that into Swedish monetary policy. As one would expect, given that we're closer to the euro than to the dollar, then we are closer to the ECB than to the Fed, but we think that this is a proper place to be.
It's a good day for the Krona. Are you afraid it might strengthen too quickly?
No, not really. I hope that we are right when it comes to our projections, but it's hard to make exchange rate projections. But if we are right in our projection, a strengthening of the krona has been included when we do our inflation forecast.
It's also a historic day. It's the last presser of Mario Draghi today, the end of the Draghi era. How would you describe his legacy?
No, it's not for me to pass. It's not for me to pass judgment on that. I've met Mario over the years many times, both in Frankfurt and in other parts of the world, and all of us who are in this business try to do our best to make sure that we reach our targets.